Max was a master of illusion. His magic captivated audiences. They gasped at his every trick. Every performance was sold out. Fans lined up to see his show. They craved the impossible. Max delivered. He made doves disappear. He pulled rabbits from hats. He even sawed his assistant in half. Or so it seemed. Max was a master of deception. He understood the human mind. He knew how to exploit its weaknesses. He used sleight of hand and misdirection. His illusions were flawless. The audience believed. They were amazed. They were entertained. And Max? He basked in the applause. It fueled his ego. Max was a star. He was famous. He was wealthy. He had everything a man could want. From the outside, his life was perfect. But appearances could be deceiving. Beneath the surface, a darkness lurked. Max had a secret that was slowly destroying him, a secret that threatened to unravel his carefully constructed world. The world he built on illusion. The world that was about to crumble. Behind the curtain, a different story unfolded. When the lights dimmed and the crowds dispersed, Max faced a harsh reality. The magic faded, the applause died down, and he was left alone. Alone with his demons, alone with his pain. Max was addicted. He relied on substances to cope. Kratom, marijuana, and caffeine were his constant companions. They numbed the pain. They silenced the doubts. They allowed him to escape, or so he thought. The substances were his escape. They were also his prison. They held him captive. They controlled him. They threatened to consume him. Max was caught in a vicious cycle, a cycle of addiction and despair. He craved the next high. He needed it to function. He needed it to forget. But the crash always came, and with it the shame, the guilt, the self-loathing. One night, after a particularly grueling performance, Max stood alone in his dressing room. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and grease paint. The remnants of his illusions lay scattered around him. He stared at his reflection in the mirror. His face was pale and drawn, his eyes were bloodshot. He looked like a ghost of the man he used to be, the man he pretended to be. A wave of self-disgust washed over him. He hated what he saw. He hated what he had become. Max's hands trembled as he reached for his stash. The familiar powders and pills promised temporary relief. But this time, something was different. A flicker of doubt ignited within him. A tiny crack in the facade he had so carefully constructed. A voice whispered in the back of his mind. A voice he couldn't ignore. Max stared at the substances in his hand. The kratom powder, the marijuana bud, the caffeine pills. They promised solace, escape, a moment's peace. Yet, he saw them for what they truly were. Threads in a web he himself had woven. Each hit, each puff, each pill tightened the silken strands, binding him further to a life of illusion. He thought of his audiences, their faces alight with wonder as he manipulated cards, coins, and doves. What they didn't see was the manipulation within his own mind, the tricks he played on himself to justify the next fix. The grand illusion was not on stage, but in his life. The applause, the adulation, the money, all felt like counterfeit coins in his pocket. They held no real value, no lasting satisfaction. They only served to distract him from the hollowness within, the growing chasm between the man he portrayed and the man he was becoming. Each morning he vowed to break free, to seek help, to reclaim his life. But the cravings were relentless, whispering insidious promises, urging him to take just one more hit, one more puff, one more pill. And so he remained trapped, a prisoner in his own gilded cage. The voice inside his head persisted, growing stronger, refusing to be silenced. It spoke of a different kind of magic, a magic that transcended the material world, a magic that resided within. It was a faint glimmer at first, a spark in the darkness, but it ignited a flicker of hope in Max's weary heart. He had spent years perfecting the art of deception, but what if true mastery lay in revealing the truth? What if the greatest illusion he could conjure was the illusion of his own suffering, the illusion that he was anything less than whole and complete? The substances had promised him control, but he realized they had only amplified his feelings of powerlessness. They had offered creativity, but they had stifled his true potential, his ability to connect with something greater than himself. Gazing at the array of substances before him, Max felt a surge of defiance. He wouldn't be controlled any longer. He would break free from this self-imposed prison. He would seek a different kind of magic, a magic that could heal his wounds and set him free. The longing for liberation pulsed through him, a powerful current threatening to shatter the carefully constructed walls he had erected around his heart. He yearned for authenticity, for genuine connection, for a life free from the chains of addiction. He wanted to experience the world with clear eyes, a sober mind, and an open heart. The thought of confronting his demons, of facing the pain he had so desperately tried to numb, filled him with terror. But the alternative, a slow and agonizing descent into the abyss, was far more terrifying. He knew the journey ahead would be arduous, fraught with challenges and setbacks, but for the first time, he dared to believe that freedom was possible. He had glimpsed a path, a way out of the labyrinth of his own making. And with a newfound resolve, Max made a decision that would change his life forever. He would embark on a quest for true magic, a journey from illusion to enlightenment, a transformation of the soul. Driven by a yearning for something more, something true, Max ventured out into the labyrinthine streets of the city. He wandered aimlessly, his mind awhirl with thoughts he could barely grasp. His feet led him to a hidden corner he'd never noticed before, a quaint little shop with a faded sign that read, "Antiquities and Curiosities." Drawn by an invisible force, Max stepped inside. The air was thick with the scent of aged paper and forgotten things. Dusty shelves groaned under the weight of ancient volumes, their leather spines cracked and faded. He ran his fingers along the spines, feeling the echoes of countless stories, forgotten wisdom, and whispered secrets. His gaze fell upon a leather-bound book tucked away on a high shelf, its title barely visible beneath a layer of dust, The Magician's Revelation. Intrigued, he reached for it, his fingers brushing against the cool, smooth leather. It felt strangely familiar, as if he had held it before, in a distant dream. As he carefully lifted the book from the shelf, a cloud of dust billowed around him, momentarily obscuring his vision. When the dust settled, he found himself staring at the book's cover, captivated by an intricate design. A single eye within a pyramid, radiating golden light. Back in his dressing room, the sanctuary of his illusions, Max sat down with the book in hand. As he opened the aged pages, a musty scent filled the air, carrying with it a sense of ancient knowledge. The words within were not in any language he recognized, yet they seemed to resonate deep within him, as if his soul itself understood their meaning. He flipped through the pages, his eyes scanning the strange symbols and diagrams. Then, as if guided by an unseen hand, he stopped at a particular page. There, written in elegant script, were words he could understand. True magic lies not in manipulating the external world, but in transforming the inner landscape. The words struck a chord within him, echoing the whispers he had been hearing within his own soul. Was it possible, he wondered, that the illusions he had so carefully crafted on stage were merely a reflection of the illusions he had built around his own life? He delved deeper into the book, each page revealing profound truths that both terrified and exhilarated him. It spoke of the interconnectedness of all things, the power of the mind to shape reality, and the importance of aligning oneself with the natural flow of the universe. As Max read, he felt a spark ignite within him, a faint flicker of hope in the darkness of his despair. The book spoke of a different kind of magic, a magic that transcended the tricks and illusions of the stage. It was a magic that resided within, a magic that could heal his wounds and set him free. The substances he had relied on for so long now seemed like pale imitations of true power, offering only temporary escape from the pain of his own making. The book offered a different path, a path of self-discovery, transformation, and true empowerment. It spoke of confronting one's shadows, embracing the darkness within in order to find the light. It challenged him to question everything he thought he knew, to shed the layers of illusion he had built around himself and to step into the fullness of his being. Max closed the book, his mind racing with newfound possibilities. He knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but he was no longer afraid. He had glimpsed a truth that resonated deep within his soul, a truth that promised liberation from the chains of addiction and the illusions that had held him captive for far too long. He was ready to embark on a quest for true magic, a journey from illusion to enlightenment, a transformation of the soul. The magician's revelation didn't offer easy answers or quick fixes. Instead, it held a mirror to Max's soul, forcing him to confront the uncomfortable truths he'd been avoiding. The book called out the quick fix fallacy, a seductive illusion that had ensnared him for years. Max saw how he'd chased fleeting highs, seeking solace in substances that promised to erase his pain, his doubts, his fears. But the relief they offered was always temporary, a mirage in the desert of his discontent. The book explained how each substance, in its own way, played a role in maintaining the grand illusion of his life. Kratom dulled the emotional edges, allowing him to go through the motions without truly feeling. Marijuana offered a distorted lens, making the mundane seem profound and the anxieties fade into a hazy background. Caffeine provided the energy to keep up the facade, fueling the frenetic pace that kept him from facing his inner turmoil. Each quick fix was a sleight of hand, a misdirection, a temporary escape from the real magic of facing himself. The magician's revelation exposed another insidious illusion that had held Max captive, the validation void. It spoke of the human tendency to seek external validation, to measure self-worth through the eyes of others. Max, the celebrated magician, had become addicted to the applause, the adulation, the adoration of his fans. Their praise filled a void within him, a void that longed for love, acceptance, and belonging. The book revealed that true fulfillment couldn't be found in the fickle whims of the crowd. It spoke of cultivating inner peace, of recognizing one's inherent worthiness, of finding validation from within. Max realized that by seeking validation from external sources, he was giving away his power, becoming a puppet to the expectations of others. He saw how this need for approval had fueled his addiction, driving him to maintain the image of the successful, charismatic performer, even as it chipped away at his soul. The book urged him to break free from this cycle, to step off the stage of external validation and into the embrace of self-acceptance. As Max delved deeper into the magician's revelation, he encountered a truth that shook him to his core, the illusion of control. He'd always prided himself on his mastery of illusion, his ability to manipulate perception and orchestrate outcomes. Yet, the book revealed that this control was an illusion, a carefully constructed facade masking a deeper truth. His addictions, he realized, were not a source of control, but rather chains that bound him. He was a slave to his cravings, his routines, his desperate need to maintain the facade of the in-control performer. The substances he thought gave him power, in reality, held him hostage. They dictated his moods, his thoughts, his very actions. They had become the puppet master and he the marionette dancing to their tune. The book offered a different path, a path of surrender, of letting go of the need to control every aspect of his life. The magician's revelation became Max's guide, a map leading him out of the labyrinth of illusion. The book emphasized the power of mindfulness. This ancient practice, it explained, was the key to unlocking the shackles of addiction. It was about observing his thoughts and cravings without judgment. Max began to meditate each day. At first, his mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, regrets, anxieties, cravings. The book warned him this would happen. It urged him to simply observe these thoughts as a detached observer. He imagined himself sitting by a flowing river, watching his thoughts drift by like leaves on the current. Slowly, he began to find moments of stillness. He noticed the rise and fall of his breath. He felt the weight of his body on the cushion. He became aware of the present moment, a sanctuary from the storms of his mind. With each mindful breath, Max chipped away at the illusions that bound him. He began to see his cravings not as insurmountable urges, but as fleeting sensations. He realized he had a choice, to indulge them or to let them pass. Section 2. The Alchemy Within. The book delved into the ancient art of alchemy, It wasn't about turning lead into gold, as Max initially thought. It was about inner transformation. It was about taking the raw materials of his experiences, his pain, his addictions, and transmuting them into something new, something beautiful. He learned about the importance of shadow work, of confronting the darker aspects of himself he'd long suppressed. He explored his past traumas, his insecurities, the root causes of his addictions. It was a painful process, like lancing a boil. But through this process, Max began to understand himself more deeply. He saw how his addictions were a way to cope with pain, a way to numb the wounds of the past. He forgave himself for his mistakes, for the harm he'd caused himself and others. Section 3. Embracing the Now. The magician's revelation stressed the importance of presence, of living fully in the now. It introduced Max to the teachings of Zen Buddhism, a philosophy that resonated deeply with him. He began to appreciate the simplicity of everyday moments, the taste of his morning coffee, the warmth of the sun on his skin, the laughter of a child. He practiced mindfulness throughout his day, bringing his attention to the present moment, no matter how mundane the task. He washed dishes with focused attention, feeling the warm water on his hands. He walked through the park, noticing the vibrant colors of the leaves, the intricate patterns of the bark on the trees. As he embraced the present moment, the past and future lost their grip on him. He no longer dwelled in regrets or anxieties. He was fully present, fully alive, experiencing each moment with a sense of wonder and gratitude. Section 1. As above, so below. The magician's revelation introduced Max to the Hermetic principle of as above, so below. It spoke of the interconnectedness of all things, how the microcosm reflected the macrocosm, and how his inner world shaped his outer reality. This principle resonated deeply with Max. He began to see how his addictions, his self-destructive patterns, were reflected in the chaos of his external world, his strained relationships, his neglected health, his dwindling finances. The book explained that by changing his inner world, by healing his wounds and aligning with his true self, he could transform his outer reality. It was a powerful realization. He had the power to create the life he desired, not through tricks and illusions, but through genuine inner transformation. Max started paying attention to his thoughts, recognizing them as powerful forces that shaped his experiences. He replaced negative self-talk with affirmations, focusing on his strengths, his accomplishments, his potential. Seeking further guidance, Max delved into the teachings of Taoism. He learned about the Tao, the natural flow of the universe, and the importance of living in harmony with it. The book emphasized the concept of yin and yang, the interplay of opposing forces that create balance in the cosmos. Max recognized this dance of opposites within himself, the light and the shadow, the masculine and the feminine, the rational and the intuitive. He saw how his addictions had thrown him out of balance, how his relentless pursuit of external validation had disconnected him from his inner wisdom. He began incorporating Taoist practices into his life, practicing Tai Chi to cultivate inner peace and balance, spending time in nature to reconnect with the natural rhythms of the universe, and learning to embrace both the light and shadow aspects of himself. The magician's revelation further explored the Hermetic principle of the mental universe. It stated that the universe is mental, and that thought is the most powerful force in existence. This idea both excited and terrified Max. It meant he had the power to create his reality, but it also meant he was responsible for the illusions he'd created. The book urged him to become a conscious creator, to choose his thoughts carefully, to focus on what he wanted to manifest, rather than dwelling on what he feared. It taught him about the law of attraction, how like attracts like, and how by raising his vibration, he could attract more positive experiences into his life. Max started paying attention to his thoughts, weeding out limiting beliefs and replacing them with empowering truths. He visualized the life he desired, a life free from addiction, filled with purpose, creativity, and genuine connection. He affirmed his ability to overcome his challenges and create a reality that reflected his highest potential. Max returned to the stage a changed man. The glitter and smoke remained, but his presence held a newfound depth. a quiet strength that drew the audience in. He moved with a grace that transcended mere showmanship, a reflection of the inner harmony he'd cultivated. Gone were the days of seeking validation through gasps and applause. His performances became an offering, a sharing of the wisdom he'd gleaned on his own journey. He wove tales of transformation into his acts, using metaphors and symbolism to convey the profound truths he'd uncovered. He might make a dove disappear, then speak of the illusion of attachment, of how clinging to things outside ourselves only brought suffering. He might saw a woman in half, only to reveal her whole and unharmed, a testament to the illusion of separation, the interconnectedness of all beings. His magic, once a tool for distraction, became a conduit for connection. He invited his audience to look beyond the surface, to question their own perceptions, to see the magic that resided within them. Max's grand performance went beyond the tricks and illusions. He began incorporating moments of quiet reflection, inviting the audience to join him in mindful breathing exercises, to connect with the present moment, to experience the magic of their own breath, their own heartbeat. He spoke openly about his struggles with addiction, sharing his journey through the darkness and into the light. His vulnerability resonated deeply with the audience, many of whom faced their own hidden battles. He showed them that true strength lay not in denying our shadows, but in embracing them, integrating them into the wholeness of who we are. His message was simple yet profound. We are all magicians, capable of transforming our lives, of creating our own reality. The true magic, he emphasized, lay not in manipulating the external world, but in transforming our inner landscape. His words, imbued with authenticity and hard-won wisdom, landed in the hearts of his listeners, planting seeds of hope, of healing, of the possibility for real and lasting change. Max's transformed performances created a ripple effect that extended far beyond the confines of the theater. People left his shows feeling inspired, empowered, and connected to something larger than themselves. They began to question their own illusions, to seek deeper meaning and purpose in their lives. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. Max's audiences grew, not just in size, but in their thirst for something real, something authentic. They craved more than just entertainment. They yearned for transformation. He began offering workshops and seminars, sharing the tools and techniques that had helped him overcome his own addictions and create a life filled with purpose and meaning. He taught mindfulness meditation, yoga, and the principles of alchemy and Hermetic philosophy, adapting ancient wisdom for a modern audience. He created a safe and supportive space for people to explore their own shadows, to heal their wounds, and to step into their power. He reminded them that they were not alone, that everyone faced challenges, and that true strength lay in our willingness to ask for help and support each other on the journey. Max's work was about more than just overcoming addiction. It was about awakening to our true potential, about embracing the magic that resides within each and every one of us. He helped people see through the illusions of the material world, the endless pursuit of more, the belief that happiness could be found in external things. He encouraged them to look within, to connect with their own inner wisdom, to discover the unique gifts they had to offer the world. He reminded them that they were not broken or flawed, but rather perfectly imperfect beings on a journey of growth and evolution. Max's own life became a testament to the transformative power of this new kind of magic. He radiated a quiet joy, a deep sense of peace and fulfillment that was palpable to all who encountered him. He had found his true calling, not in the illusions of the stage, but in the real magic of empowering others to heal and transform their lives. Max's journey from master illusionist to a beacon of truth left an indelible mark on the world. The illusions he once conjured paled in comparison to the magic he ignited within countless souls. He had shown them that true freedom lay not in escaping reality, but in embracing it fully, with all its complexities and contradictions. His story became a legend, passed down from one seeker to another, a testament to the transformative power of self-discovery. The lessons he shared transcended the stage, finding their way into classrooms, therapy rooms, and the quiet corners of people's hearts. He had planted seeds of awareness, of compassion, of the unwavering belief in our innate capacity for healing and transformation. And those seeds continued to sprout and grow long after he took his final bow. Max knew that his own journey was far from over. The path of self-discovery, he often said, was an endless spiral, each loop revealing deeper truths, greater challenges, and more profound joys. He continued to learn, to grow, to challenge his own assumptions, knowing that true mastery lay not in reaching a final destination, but in embracing the journey itself. And so, the magician who had once sought to control and manipulate the world around him became a student of life, a humble servant of a power far greater than himself. He had finally understood the greatest illusion of all, the illusion of separation. For in the interconnected tapestry of existence, we are all magicians, co-creating our reality with every thought, every word, every action. And the magic, he knew, was just beginning.